Good evening, everybody. This is Cookie Seton. I'll be teaching you the intermediate class of Dreamweaver. We should be starting in just a moment. I know some of you took my previous class, and some of you have some experience with Dreamweaver and are taking this class for the first time. So I want to introduce you to my website so that you'll see where you're able to download some of the exercises from. Let me make sure that I'm sharing. I know you don't see my screen right now. Let me just get it going. Okay, so you should see my screen at this point. And my website is www.cookieseton.com. If you click into the Dreamweaver label here, it'll take you to this page. Now, this class is the intermediate class right in this area, and let me just refresh it because I made some changes since. There we go. Okay, so behaviors, this is the first area that we'll be working with, and then we'll be working with the presentation that's in week 1. So you can download it now or later and follow along with this class. So what I wanted to start with today, for those that were in the last class, we created a website using tables for our structure. And then towards the end of the class, we started to build a website without tables. And we started talking about div tags and how to position them to create the structure. Well, we're going to be spending a lot more time with that. But before we do that, I had a few questions presented at the last class that we weren't able to get to that part. So I wanted to start with that area, and you'll see where it fits in later on to what we're going to be doing. So what we'll be using today is not divs, but AP divs. And AP divs are absolutely position divs. You'll start to see what the advantage of using those AP divs, and they have a lot of disadvantages too. So for this exercise, we will be using AP divs, and the reason that we need to use them is because we are going to be making this page with dynamic visibility, and I'll show you what that's about. Let me go to a website that I use this. Oh, just give me a second. And this is just to give you an example of what we'll be doing. And you see here, neighborhood photos, mouse over text to see images. And as soon as I mouse over this image, this two-tone brick, the image appears. When I mouse away, it disappears. So we'll be creating this kind of a set of photos. Just by mousing over these words, you're able to see the picture. As soon as the mouse moves away from it, the picture also disappears. So this is what we'll be creating today. So I'm going to come back into Dreamweaver, and I set up this page, which you'll be doing, using some images that I set up for you in my website. Let me just show you one more time that part of it. Okay. Right here, the images, that's where the images that I'm using for this exercise, you'll be able to do the same thing by downloading them. Hopefully you know how to set up a site and put all your images into an image folder, which is contained within your main folder. So we're not really going over that in the class, but just to show you on this, in my files panel, I'm working with the folder I named Dreamweaver Intermediate, and all of my exercises are here on the side to show you. So what I did here is I named this showhide.html. And again, what I want to happen on this page is that when they click into each of these words, I want them to be able to see the images like you were able to see on the website just a few moments ago. So what we're going to do is we're going to start this right from the beginning. I'm going to just pull up the images that I used for this exercise. Let's see. Got a lot of folders prepared for you, so got to make sure I'm using the right one. Okay, I believe it's in this area. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to start a new document. Blank page, HTML. I'm not working on any structure right now. We're just working on using these AP divs. And we'll create a blank page. You could name it the exercise is show hide. Learning to use the show hide elements. So give it a name like that, so you'll be able to find it later on. I'm going to put number 2 because I already created it, and press save. I want to work right from the center, from the beginning, so I'm going to center it. And in this area, I am just simply going to put the words that I need to be able to click onto. And you'll be doing the same. It's Alberta Falls. And I'll separate it. Black Canyon, and separate it. Elk, and Fossil. So these will be the pictures that we'll be using later on. If I'm not happy with the style, I'll work with my formatting a little bit later on. So the first thing to do was to type those words. And now what I want you to do is insert layout object, and we're going into the AP absolute positioning div. Let's just bring this down a little bit. Now, unlike a div that will work with otherwise, this one has, the placement is exactly where we put it. It doesn't float against another div. And you'll notice as I move it around, which is from this upper left-hand corner, as I move it, you'll notice in my properties panel, there'll be changes. L left, so the left position, I move it over, you see right away the position moves over. My width, this is the width that it is now. I'm going to be adjusting it to fit the picture that I need. Top is referring, T-top is how far from the top this div is positioned, and the height would be the height from here to here. So I have my first div. Right now it has a name of AP Div 1, which might become confusing later on because I might not remember which one I associated to which area. So I'm going to change the name of this div, and I'll call it Alberta. Press enter. Okay, and it looks like I just did Albert. There we go. Okay, and in my CSS Styles panel, here's my first style. It's right in here. I'm going to place my picture inside of it. I'm going to insert my image, and I'm going to look in my images for my Alberta Falls, alternate text. I'll write it quickly. Can always change that later on. And my image now is placed within that div. It also changes the height and width to accommodate the picture. Although I could adjust it manually if I need to. So we'll leave this image where it is. We'll probably be moving it later on. We'll put it here for now. And we're ready to insert another div. The next one will be my Black Canyon. Again, insert layout object, AP div, We'll let it stay over here for now. We'll insert our image and start to type it out. We'll take this one. Again, I can move it over and place it right on top of my first image. I want to rename it, which you don't have to do it, but you might find it easier to identify it by the name. I see I have a few questions, so I'm going to slow down before I continue. I know I'm saying a lot. The first question was, can you briefly discuss why one would use absolute positioning versus a floating div? So the reason that we're using this AP div as opposed to the type of divs we used before is it's going, well, first off, it's going to remain in the position that you put it, no matter what else goes on a page. It kind of works like a layer. At one time in Dreamweaver, it was called a layer because a div, an AP div could be positioned on top of an existing div. Let me just move this over so I can show you. Also, right now, I don't have it checked off that prevents overlaps because I do want to allow it to overlap. So using these types of divs, I could allow things to overlap. That's one part of it. But more importantly is that these types of divs, we can use them with behaviors, and that's what we're going to be going over, which is actually done through JavaScript, which we're not really going through JavaScript, but you'll see how we could make these images dynamic. It'll allow the user to make these images visible, invisible, and have interactivity on the web page. Let me just look at some of the other questions. Yeah, and also the AP div, the reason that I like it for using it in this type of situation, I wouldn't create my whole website using this because within different browsers you might have a problem where the image might come out in a different place on each browser. So it's great when you're setting up a series of pictures. It's not great for using it to create your website. I'm going to go into the code for now just so that you can see what is going on since we started. So here in the body tag, I have a div that's just aligned to the center. That's where we're putting, I'll split it up, our main information. And then within it, let me go down here. You see, here's my first AP div. Let's see if I'm showing everything. Okay, here's my CSS style. This is showing the information about the div itself, the position being absolute, which again could be changed right in here if you decided that you didn't want to work with an AP div. You could change this to, I don't want to really do it right now, but it doesn't have to stay absolute. You see the width and the height in here, which I think at this point is accommodating the image itself. The Z index is going to become the stacking order of these pictures. And left and top is showing me exactly where it's being positioned within the page. Okay, and Sarah, I see you had a couple of other questions. What I'll do is we started at 6 o'clock, about 40 minutes into the lesson or towards the end of it, I'll take questions and then we'll go from that point. So start to collect your questions, but let me go through a few more points of this, and then I'll address the questions. Okay, want to insert two more. And in here, I'm putting the picture of the elk. And I'll move it over for now. And my last one will be the fossil. Okay. So I have all four. Looks like I didn't rename this one. I'll do that one first. This is the fossil. And you see when I change it, it changes in my in this area, the AP elements. Okay, so we have our four images ready. We'll position them better in a little while. I'm going to take each of these headings, select them, and put a pound sign in to create like a false link. Okay. As I work, I like to continuously save the changes that I make. And okay, now that I repeated that with all four objects, what I want to do is I want to close the visibility of each of these objects. Right now, you can see all four on the page. In fact, I'll click into one, and you'll see here where it says VIS is standing for the visibility. Right now, it's on default. I have two ways of closing it. I can click from here, change it to hidden. Should have disappeared. Let's see, it should have. Oh, all right, I'll do it from here. It's easier. Just close from here, close the eye on each one. And now it appears as they're all hidden from view at this point. I'm going to go from my AP elements over to my tag selector. And I'm going to start to create behaviors. Click into behaviors, into the plus sign, and go over to show hide elements. The first one that I want to work on is Alberta, and I want to show it. Press OK. Now, I'll change it not to on focus, but on to mouse over. I want it to show when I mouse over this word. And now I want to hide it. Oh, did I lose the other one? Let me go back for a moment. Okay, stay here. Over. Second behavior is to hide that image. And I want that to happen when I mouse out. Okay. Let's see how it's coming along. I'm going to save the changes I made. If I go into live view, actually it'll let me, but I'm surprised. I don't think, no, it normally doesn't work from live view. We have to go into preview. Okay. It's not here. Oh, well, no, it's not working properly. I'm going to have to fix something. It should only show when I'm mousing over this. Let's see what went wrong in here. Take those behaviors out one more time. Let's see if we can get them back. We're working in here. The behavior seemed to have taken its own. No, it's not in here. I don't know if you had all noticed, as I was doing it, it seemed to have highlighted everything, which it shouldn't have been doing. It should have been only highlighting the individual word. See where it ended up. See if we can take it out. Oh, you know what? Easier. I'll just undo it. Okay, let's see if we got everything back. Close all the eyes. Start on Alberta. Okay. I had to select the word first. That was it. Sorry about that. Save the change and we'll view it again. Okay. Now it's working beautifully. What happened was I didn't select the word and now it's working. So we'll go through it one more time. Take Black Canyon this time. Add a behavior to it. Change the behavior. Right now it's on click. I don't want it to show when it's on click. I want them to just simply be able to mouse over the word. And you see that you do have other options, but we'll stick to this one for now. And the second behavior will be to hide it. And we want that to happen when they mouse out. Okay, make a change, save the change, and continue with the balance of the words. So first we show it, then we hide it, and on that one, it's a mouse out. Last one, each time we need to select. Now, these could have been thumbnails of a larger picture in here. It would work just the same way if you were using smaller images. You would just have to set up those images, prepare them ahead of time. Let's say making them, about 100 by 100 squares, or maybe even a little smaller than that, and then making your images below bigger than that, so that they're able to actually see each of the pictures bigger just by mousing over. Okay, should be all set up now. We'll save it, and we'll take one more look. We'll preview it this time in Firefox. It's a good idea to go back and forth and check it in each browser. There we go. It's working fine. Okay, any questions on this part before I go into another area? Miriam asked, don't you have to look at the behaviors on the link? I'm not sure what you're asking. What I'm looking for is I'm selecting the area that I want to initiate this behavior from. So by clicking into this word, I'm able to add a behavior to that actual word. If you want to reword it, I'm not following your question. Sarah asked, what other uses for this other than a photo album? If you want somebody to mouse over something and just have something pop up on the screen, you know, something that you don't necessarily want to be permanent, you could use it for that. I've always used it mostly with images. Okay. I started to create a second one over here where I started to, let's see if I can do another one. I wrote red square over here, and now I'll do a yellow square. And let's say a blue square. Yep. Okay. In the red square, I have it that when they click here, a red square will pop up. What I'm going to do here, yellow square, and I'll put my pound sign to create the link. I'll insert my layout object, my AP div, and I'll just position it right here for now, make it into more of a square, and I'll fill this with a color, and I'll just write something inside of it. So it doesn't always have to be an image. It could have text in there if you wanted it to. And my blue square, again, my pound sign. Now, this is not the only type of behavior that you can use with this div. We'll be talking about a few others later on. And we have a blue square here. Oh. There we go. Okay. Same way as we did before, if I go into my behaviors, let me select the word first. And I thought I put one in there. So let's put it in the yellow for now. All right, I didn't see. This is a reason why I hate not giving them a name, because then it's hard to remember which one was which. So I'm going to call that yellow and blue. And it looks like I didn't create one for this, so I'll do one now. And if I wanted them to be the exact same size, then right in here, instead of trying to position it on my own, I would just change the number here. I know it's exactly 200 now. Let's give this one a color. Red. one. Again, anytime I want the property inspector to show me the properties of this, I have to click into this upper left-hand corner. And here. Okay, so my sizes now are almost accurate. And let's see if we got this one. Let's give this one the name of red. Okay, that way when I'm in my elements, I can see them. Looks like I had, oh, that was there. I didn't know I did create that. I'm just going to delete it. I don't need that one. So all I just did was I clicked onto it and hit the delete key. So now that I have my 3 elements ready, I'm going to close the eye of each one, have them disappear. Or you can do it in the reverse if you wanted to. I mean, I like to start with nothing there and, oh, look at that. I had 2 of these. That's why this got all messed. Let's get rid of this. There we go. Okay. Oh, now I got rid of it. Too many. I think I took out the wrong one before. Let's see. How did this end up here? Somebody must have seen that happen. Oh, now I see what happened. There we go. And give it a size so it'll look like the others. Oh. Okay, we got everything back. So again, I'm going to close the eyes now. There we go. And in my, I won't do all of them now. This must be from before, so I'm going to eliminate it. It's going to end up confusing me. Okay, we'll do. I'll just make it show this time. I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to make just one behavior. That way it'll stay on the screen after they clicked into it. I mean, you could create a game with something like this if you want to see if they get the right answer and they click into it and the right answer would show up. You know, there's a lot of things that you can play around once you know how to create it. So now it should stay on the screen. Oh, I think I forgot to. Well, I did it where you clicked in at this point because I forgot to change. Here, it's on click. That's fine. Happens to work out pretty nice on click. This one has it on mouse over. I'll change this one to be on click also. Save it and preview it. I'm going to press my F12, which will take me straight into Firefox because I made that as my default. So now you see as I click into it, each one appears. So it can be used in various ways as long as you understand how to work with that behavior. I just have a couple of questions that I'm going to address at this point. Morsha asked, if you wanted to create behaviors for on-click, how to specify that it should stop the behavior when clicked on another item. Okay, maybe your example is going to make it easier to understand. Suppose we have an image thumbnail to the left and a large version on the right, and clicking the thumbnail would activate the large thumbnail to the right. Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. let me go back in here and show you. Let's start with, I'm going to insert a picture. Let's see. I don't know what this picture is. Let me see what it is. Let's see if it'll... No, I don't want that picture. I'm double-clicking into it. Actually, that's not so bad. I'm bringing it into Photoshop so I could make a second image a little smaller. I'll create a thumbnail so that we'll have both. Actually, it wasn't such a bad idea. Anytime depending, of course, how you set up Dreamweaver, if you go into Edit Preferences, the way mine is set up, and I think it's by default, is by double-clicking into the picture, it'll take you straight into your Photoshop program. Hopefully you do have that program, because it's kind of it really is necessary in creating a website, either to have Photoshop or Illustrator or one of those similar programs. So I have this image. Let's see if I could. Oh, I'm not sure. Hopefully you're seeing it. It looks like it's sharing, so if you're not seeing my screen, let me know. Otherwise, I'll assume that it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go into the image size, and I'll change, let's see, I'll change it to have, it was 170. Yeah, you are seeing it. Okay, I'm going to make it 75 by whatever it ended up to be, 113. A little smaller, and I'll save it as same image, but I'll put the word thumb so we'll know the difference. Okay, come back into Dreamweaver. I'll refresh my panel, and now I have the two images. So we'll start with the thumb. We'll put it right here. Okay, put it in my... we don't need that. Here's the thumbnail image, and we'll insert our AP, and we'll move it over to here. Now, I know it's going to be bigger, but we'll let it... Let's see if we can do it this way for now. Yes. Okay. Okay. So here's our first image. Let's put a link. And in fact, this one, let's make it a little bit bigger. We can make it even bigger. Okay. So this picture is going to link to this, and we'll call it Falls. Yeah, it was Waterfalls, so we'll call it Falls. And this image is going to link. So let's see our elements. It's not here. Huh? Okay. Oh, here it is. Falls. Here it is. Okay. So we'll close them up. We'll take this picture, which I'm already clicked. Got to be clicked into it. And in my tag inspector now, show hide. We're going straight into Falls. And this one, we're only going to make it on a click. So if they click into the page, they see the picture. I'm going to save my work and move into Internet Explorer. I like to go back and forth from Firefox to Internet Explorer. Now, these should still be working. They're still working. Now, this one, now you see what happened? Now, I allowed it to overlap because I didn't say prevent overlaps, so you're able to allow the pictures to show one on top of another. So if you had a series of small thumbprints, you could have each one pop up, either stay there by only adding one behavior, and that's what I have now. So the question was, let's see, what happens if you do check no overlaps? Well, let's go back in, prevent overlaps, and let's save it and see whether it'll still work. Okay, and Moshe, you understood how the large image got visible, but then you said if I clicked on the first and second, I want the first to vanish. If you remember when we were creating our show hide, our behaviors, we only put one behavior in. We didn't put the second one in, so that's why we didn't get. So let's see now, we said prevent overlaps. It didn't work. Okay, that's not a good thing. Let me close these and make sure. And we did say that it should have worked. I'd have to get back to you otherwise on that one. I'm not really sure why it's still overlapping. And this is happening here. I must have not linked the entire word. If you remember when they separated, it must have messed up something in there. All right, it is overlapping. We're going to have to figure out why, and I'll probably have to let you know on the next class. So scratch that whole part of it. Okay, and again, you could go back, and if you did want the pictures to vanish, you can go back into your tag inspector, and you could put the second part of the element in there. Just want to go to one of the other ones. Surprised that it's not pulling up. Oops. Pulling up the behavior that was already in there. Normally, let me just see. Normally when I go into the behavior, I'll see my first behavior. Oh, that's because I'm not in here. Sorry. If I want to see the behavior, I'm going to have to select here, and then I see. So here I have the yellow one on a click shows. If I want it to disappear after, I'm going to have to add another behavior. And what am I in? Yellow. I'm going to hide it. Do I want to click it again, or do I want to just mouse away, mouse out, and so you have both. So you can go back in any time and change the behavior, change the way it'll react inside of your web page. Okay, it's 6:45 now. Let's just take a few-minute break, and we'll come back to the next part of tonight's lesson. If you have some questions, start entering your questions now into the chat. Take a few minutes, and then we'll come back to those questions right after. Okay, let's get started again. I had a few interesting questions in between. One question came from Sarah. Can you apply a behavior for a link to multiple divs? And the second question is from Moshe. I'm not sure, though, that I would like to achieve would work that way. I see click on, mouse out, but what function do I use to tell Dreamweaver that I want the first item to disappear only when the second item gets clicked, not mouse out? I'm not really sure. It might be on another click. I'd have to really look into that. I've only used it in certain aspects. So it could be if you would have to play around with that and let you know on that one. For example, clicking red square would show the red, but then clicking yellow would remove the visibility of the red square. Well, you'd remove the visibility just by clicking away from it, but whether or not there's another way, I'd have to really look into that. And Miriam suggested you might need to use JavaScript for that. So it might be more than what the behaviors themselves are allowed. But I did have the answer to one question that I thought was pretty interesting, which was, let me go see where it ended up, was Sarah's question if you wanted the behavior to affect multiple links. I thought that was a great idea. So I wrote another one just writing all squares, and to all squares I gave it 3 behaviors: on click, on click, on click. So, okay. Maybe then, Marcia, maybe I answered your question. I wasn't really sure that I did. But to answer Sarah's, well, in this one, all colors, I want all 3 to show as soon as I click onto all colors. And let's see if I can get everything to disappear now. Because now I have it that let me bring up a new one. Being that I didn't put the mouse out, it gets a little tricky because as soon as my mouse touches one of the other words, other links are all going to pop up. So I'm going to come around this way and put the word all colors, click it, and you see that everything did pop up. So you could give more than one div the same behavior. We still have this one working, and this one I didn't do anything with it yet, but I wanted to show you one other idea. In this image, I could create some other effects, but I do want you to be careful using these effects. If you go back into the plus and just go to effects. So in the effects, what I want to do is grow and shrink. What that will let me do is it'll target, I hope I was in the right selection. Let me just make sure, yeah. Grow and shrink will allow me to either let it grow. It could grow from, let's say, 100% of the size to, let's say, 150, and grow from the center. Press OK, save it, and press OK. Okay. And Miriam, I saw that you actually gave us an idea is to swap the image. So before we go anywhere, let's see if we could get that to work. So the first one was on click. Oops. So she's suggesting that we hide it. Let's see if we have well, I don't see where swap is, so unless you know where it is, let me know, and we'll give that a try also. Just let me know one of the participants, when I open this box in this area, I know that it's blocking your window. You're not seeing what I'm seeing. But do you see each other's questions, or do you see the chat box within here? I'm not sure if you're seeing it the same way as I do. Oh, it's just gray. So you don't see the chat between everybody. Okay. So what Miriam was saying was, instead of going to show, hide, use swap image. So I'll take this behavior out that we just put in. And see if I have, here she's saying swap image, but what that's going to do is it's going to, let's see, it's just going to swap it from one image into the other. I'm not really swapping them right now. Let's see if I just put this picture in. Okay. So if this one was on, let's say, mouse over, and this one, make sure I'm in the right one. See, I don't have that. Oh, that's this image. Okay. Oh, this is the swap. Well, let's see if that. But it's not swapping the image, so I'm not sure about that. Okay, but what I did want you to see, just coming back to, let me close this again. In this picture, and I know it's all the way over, let's see if I can center it so you can see it a little better. Because right now we have nothing, we have no structure to the page. Okay, I'll put that in the center so you'll be able to see it better. What I wanted you to see the effect of the grow and shrink is, this must be because we messed this up, but in here, when I clicked into it, I allow it to grow, and then when I click away, it goes back to normal. They give you a lot of effects, but be careful of using these effects. Some of them will make your audience more uncomfortable than enjoying it. Some of the effects will be like jiggling and shaking and sliding in and out. Be very prudent in using these. Most users don't enjoy too much flying around on the window, shaking around. Some of them work out nice, but a lot of them are more annoying than anything else. And as Sarah just pointed out, is not all browsers support such effects. So for the most part, use them, prudently. Okay. Oh, and I guess you don't see the questions that are coming back and forth. I thought it would be good if you do, but I guess it is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to close this for now. We covered this area pretty much. I'm going to close that one also. And what I'd like to do now is really talk about the structure of pages, of building CSS without tables. As I had said earlier, in the previous class we did a lot using tables for our structures, and we just started to touch upon creating structures using divs. And that's what I want to spend some time and understanding how CSS actually works. Let's see which one I saved it in. not the one I wanted. Just let me find the page I wanted to start you with. So I started to create a page using certain tags, and we're going to be creating something similar and understanding how the code is written, what's going on behind the scenes. So what you will see, let's see if I could show it to you in the code. Okay, so you have here some code, and you see how it begins right here. This H3 happens to be heading 3. That is your selector. And then it's separated with a curly bracket. And then within that area, you have your property, which in this case is the background color. And it gives you the hexadecimal number. We'll see where these numbers came from later on. And then you'll see a grayed out area that will explain what this is about. Well, actually, I'm not in. Let's see if I can find heading 1. Okay, well, all right. I'll do heading 1 since that's the first one I'm finding. Okay. So in this one, you see, again, the selector is here. Heading 1 is the selector. P for paragraph being the selector. The property is the color, is the first property, or background color. That's the property. And the value is in this area. So those are the basic 3 parts of any tag. You also have an area where you can create a description of what these tags are about. This is something here. This is actually one. The rules for H3, if you see right here, it's an aqua color. But if you were just looking at the code, you would see it says background color being 3C9. You wouldn't really know what color that is, but you'll see that I put a description here. The description starts with the slash and the star. This is not visible on your page, but there are notes for you to be able to understand what's going on in the code. Okay, so let's start to create our own CSS styles at this point. Now, right now, the way that I have this set up, there's 3 places that your CSS could be contained. You could have its own file, like right here, this is a CSS file. That would be an external style sheet, and you would, as you're creating your page, you would request that the CSS style is attached to the individual pages. So you have your external style sheets, then you have your internal style sheets, which is the way that this page is set up right now. You see this whole area from here. These are all the styles. Let's see how far they go. These are all the styles of this particular web page. There's many times you might start out creating your website, put them all on the page, and then later come back and move all your styles into an external style sheet. By selecting it, there we go, I can move these CSS rules and put them on their own style sheet. I'm not going to do that now, but later on you would start to create your first page, put all the styles in, and then you'd want all those styles to affect all your pages. The third way is inline styles. We'll come back to inline styles later on, which I don't really recommend. I'll show you better ways than using an inline style sheet, inline styles. Okay. So we're going to start with a new page, new blank. See, this is where you would be attaching it later on. We don't have one right now, so we'll start right here. and we'll look at it right now. There's no code beyond just the paragraph, the tags themselves, and we're ready to start to create our styles. Let's name this, save as, and name it lesson 1. And I'll put an A on mine. Okay, and always remember that your title should change. It shouldn't stay on untitled document, even for practice. That way you get in the habit of naming your documents right away. And what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a tag for an existing HTML tag. Okay. So what I want to do with this is I want to select it, and I want this to become my heading 1. Okay. Go into the code. Right now there's no style to it. In my properties, I'm going to change it initially from here. Later on, we'll do it another way. And we'll give it a specific size and a specific color and press OK. Because my fingers are one key over. There we go. So if I go into the code, I see that these words are just heading 1, but it doesn't specify in this area what my heading 1 is. If I come into this area, this is where my styles are, I could actually make changes and add different properties to my styles in here. So if I want to change the color, right now I'm on a red color. As soon as I put my pound sign, it brings up my array of colors. These colors in this area are my web safe colors. I'm pretty much sure that in each browser the color will be accurate, not necessarily the same for the other colors. I'll refresh it, and I see my tag right here has changed, my H1 tag. Now I could add more characteristics to this, and I'll change the background color, double click into it, pick your color, and put a semicolon and refresh. So knowing the structure of your tags, it's very important, because there's times that you'll want to be able to control it right from your code. Always start with bring it up so you can see, start with the property, separate it with a colon, then put in your value, and then end it with a semicolon. Okay, going back into here, I could continue creating more styles right from here. Let me come back in. No, this is not mine. There we go. Okay, so I come out of this bracket. I'll give my paragraph a different style than what was already there. Start with the color. And choose another color. Again, semicolon, and close your bracket. It's that squiggly bracket above your enter key. Now, if I go back into my design view, I have nothing with paragraph mark, but now if I start to type, well, this, if you notice down here, is my paragraph, which has already taken on the style that I created inside the code. So you could enter all your code first, give all your tags a specific style, and then as you type and use those, it will adjust accordingly. If I change this to none, goes back to black. Change it to heading 2, it'll take on the default styles of heading 2. One other part that I think is important, I'm going to call this one heading, I'll do heading 3. And now I want to give my heading 3 some new characteristics. Okay, so right now this is what my heading 3 looks like. I have two ways of doing it. One, the way that I showed you through the actual code where you enter it yourself. And second way, and probably easier, but I still like you to start getting familiar with the code, is through the page properties. In this one, I want to give it a background color. I'll make it gray for now. And what else did I want to do to it? I want to give it, let's see, the text decoration. Sometimes I don't know where they are in here. I know they're better in the code area, so I kind of, that gave my whole background. I guess I was in the body tag. I didn't mean to be there. Let's take that out. There we go. I want it to be here. Okay, I'll give it a specific size while I'm here. And change style. Apply it. Okay. Oh, we can give it a background. Did it again. Okay, I'm just going to do it from here. I want to give this one a background. Black. Okay, and if you notice that the background affected the entire line. I only want the background to be inside of the area that has text. So I'm going to add one more property to it, and this one's going to be a text decoration. And what I want on this one is, where is it? All right, let me put underline while I'm here. Now it's underlined. That's not what I wanted. Display. Sorry. Display. And I want it to have a black style to it. Let's refresh it. No. Maybe I want it inline. Okay. Black being the entire area, inline just being this area. So you see how coming into the code we could get many more properties than we might have available right away in the property, in the page properties. As I add different properties, you're going to notice, let me go over here one more time. Okay. As I added properties, I also see it in this area. I could add more properties. And when I click into here, I see all my options. So let's say I wanted to have a border color. No, didn't come in. Border color. Oh, I need a border thickness also. Border, where is it? Border, I need a border width. Here it is, border width. And I'll give it a border width of 3 pixels. Still don't see it. Let's see. Border color background. Let me see if I got rid of this. Took this away. Somebody's realizing what I'm getting wrong over here. Maybe the border doesn't work with inline. It's similar. Oh, you could be right. Let's see if I got rid of that. Didn't take that away. No. Okay. Well, all right. I don't want to get too hung up on that. It's not really where I want to stay focused. Okay. So let's remove the background property completely. Remove the background. Oh, background color out. But now I have a border width. I don't have, let's see if I take this one out. I have a border color. Okay, it's not happening. I don't want to get hung up on that. It's not where I want to go with this. Let's clear out what we have, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to revert it to the point of the beginning. I had named it, and I cleared out everything I had. I reverted it to the saved point that we were in when we first began. So what I want to do now is I want to, I want to copy some, let me see if I want to do it that way. Okay, I'm going to start by creating my page. Create my first div, and insert a div. It's at the insertion point, and we're going to give it an ID of wrapper. Everything is going to be within this wrapper div tag, and it's a new CSS rule. For now, it's this document only. And what rules do I want to give it? Well, I want to start off by, where is it? Creating the size of this, which is going to be 900 wide by 650 height. My margins right now, I'll make them 18 pixels. 18 pixels is equal to 1/4 of an inch. And the way it works with pixels is you have 72 pixels per inch. So this would be 1/4 of that. I'll apply it. press OK, and I see my first div now. If you're noticing, my rulers right now are in pixels, not in inches. But I put 18 pixels, and if you see where the corner is, it's not really 18. It looks like it's a bit more than that. It looks like it's about 20, that 25, if you see where I'm looking over here. The reason for that is right now, there's, by default, a space between the edge and this div. We're going to correct that a little later on, but that's why it might not look as accurate as you might have placed. You might have placed only 18 pixels, but you're seeing that it's actually more than that in here. We're going to come back to that in just a little while. Let's add a border of 2 pixels so that we can see where it is. Now, I want to come back into the properties. I click into the property. I have my style right here, and I can come back and edit the rule, add a border, and I'll add a border of 2. What style do I want it? I'll do solid, but I have all these different options, and if I apply it, I can see it right away. If I don't put a color, by default, it'll make it black. And now I'll start to see the properties in here as well. I can make changes straight from here if I want to. Okay, let's get some text on this page. I don't know if I saved for you just some dummy text. Let me see if I have it in here. This lipsum text, I'll tell you what this is. It's just some like dummy Latin. You can go onto the website and go onto the internet and just write in Lauren Epson. There it is. See Lauren Epson copy. And from there, you can just get some dummy text. See if, and you see this on lots of practices, so you can just take the dummy text, copy it, and paste it right onto your website. So I'm going to take this text, and I'll just move it onto here. Now I have some options in the way that I want to insert it. Do I want the text with structure, text only? I have my options, but I'm just going to press OK for now. All right, I guess we're not doing that. Cancel it. Okay. Okay. So it took way more than I have room for. It doesn't really all fit inside of here, so I'm just going to take out some of this text. It's more than I need. Come back in. Now, if you remember a little while ago, what we had started to do was to start to create some of these different styles. I'm going to take the styles from a page that I already worked on. Copy it. I'm going to paste it inside of this area. Okay. So now at this point, let's see if I can see where all that color came from. The paragraph tags right now are set up. Let's see if you can see it. My body tag is in, what colors do I have in here? My background is black. if you see here, I have my background as black, my paragraph as white. So you see, as soon as I can just place the styling right in here, and it made changes in my page. Want to go back and make some changes to it. I see my overall appearance has a black background, and the text is this pink color. And I could adjust the size. 16 looked like it was the base size. Again, if I want to change it, once I set up the styles, I can go back and forth and change it to whatever the code that we started to place inside of here. Have a couple of comments in between. The problem is the background. No, that I think was before. Okay, those were all comments from before. Okay, let me just bring this back a moment. Okay. I hate working on black, so I think I'm going to just change it because it's too distracting. Where is that black coming from? Okay, I took that out, but now I lost something else back in here. Oh, my paragraph right now. Okay, a lot easier to look at it now. So now let's just go into live view just for a moment. This is what our page is starting to look like. First off, our text doesn't really fit inside, and it's butting up right at the edge of our page. So we want to start making some changes right away. Come out of live view. You go into live view, you can see what it's going to look like, but you can't make any changes to it right away. So now that we have this this wrapper, if we look at the box, we put a margin. The margin is affecting what's on the outside of this. Let's add some padding inside of here. I'll put 10 and apply it. And you see now that there's a space between the edge of the wrapper. The padding is the inside area, the space, and the margin is outside of the space. So by building it slowly, you start to see how each of these affect the overall look of your page. Earlier I had mentioned that these edges are not quite up against what we want it to be. Again, because of the default settings, we're going to clean that up right now. What I'm going to do so you can really see the difference, I'm going to reopen this. And I'm going to take this out, put the 0 back in again. Oh, well, no, I didn't really want to put a 0. See, that was where I was going with it. 0 is not really the same as a blank. 0 pushed it right up to the edge. If I take it out completely and leave nothing, apply. Oh, no, it's not doing it for me. Okay, it shouldn't be going up to the edge now that I took it out. Go right back again. Usually when this is empty, you'll still see an area. Oh, let me put this back in. See if I can. Okay, well, we see where we're up to right over here. What I wanted to do was I wanted to create another tag, which is going to be a tag that's going to affect the whole website, the whole web page. And it's just going to be a star, and this is called a universal tag. And what I want this tag to do is I want it to say that there's 0 padding and 0 margins. I want it to only give what, let's see if we apply it. Okay, it did take out some of the spacing in here that was in there by default. So it's a good idea to start all of your sites with this universal tag. That way, as you go along, you're going to put in the exact measurements that you want. You don't want the default to be adjusting your page in ways that you're not controlling. All right, we'll go into a lot more of this on Wednesday night. Again, if you want to download the presentation, you'll be able to do that on the website. And right now, what I'm up to, let's see if it's pretty much slide 3. We're going to be really starting from slide 3 and working from there on Wednesday night. Again, if you have any questions, you can email me. Just put it down over here. Oh, let's put it in a new spot so that you can see it. Make it big enough. Okay, that's my email address, and if you have any questions on what we've done so far, then send me an email. Otherwise, I'll see you all again on Wednesday night.